In this video, I'll be taking your submitted songs, extract the vocals, and make a remix into, well, anything I feel like. From future bass to deep house or progressive house to lo-fi, the only limit is my imagination, and I will do my best to turn your song into a completely different new style and vibe. First of all, thank you to everyone who submitted their songs on Instagram. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, a few weeks ago or months ago, I made a story on Instagram asking for my followers to send me their songs that they wanted me to remix. From there, I checked them all and selected one that I felt very inspired with for today's video. But without further ado, let's get into it. So for this first edition, I chose Gonna Be by Asekura. I recently discovered his music as he was my personal #1 favorite submission for the Next to Me remix contest. But as soon as I heard his song Gonna Be, I had an idea on how to remix it. Remix it. First things first, I needed to extract the vocals, and for this I used La La Lai. As every vocal splitter AI, I still had to clean up the vocal a cappella a bit, which I did by using a simple EQ and noise kit stock plugins from Logic Pro and used Sibilance as a de-esser. Finally, I used Vocal Enhancer to bring a bit more brightness, saturation, and my vocals were ready to go. Now onto the instrumental. I always start my tracks by building the atmosphere around it. For this, I'm just searching on Splice for a couple tonal ambience loops and natural sounds like rain, people talking, vinyl crackles. I also add my eagle scream sound, which you will start hearing it in basically all my intros and outro, but I'll talk more about this later. To make sure that my song stays clean, I add an EQ on each track to remove the unnecessary low end and muddiness around 300-500 Hz. I also add a reverb so it feels more spatial and far in the mix. This is what it sounds like for now.
Was it gonna be like that? It took all the love in my heart.
Then, I don't know why, but I got an idea for the drop in my head, so I decided to record it so I wouldn't forget.
Was it gotta be?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like too much for now, but in my head it sounds really good. Let's build that drop idea one by one. I don't often do that, but this time this is what felt natural, and I started with the drums. I found a nice soft punchy kick on Splice, added a normal clap and a pre-shifted clap, and some hi-hats from an MHA pack. Nothing too complex for now, which gives us this. While looking for the chords, I found a pretty cool pad sound which I decided to include in the breakdown. Then to build my chords, as I'm going for a chill vibe here, I first searched for some pads presets on Serum, which I then adapted to my own liking, added a strong sidechain, and proceeded to building the actual chords. I think it's also important to mention that while building the chords, I'm actually using a basic piano sound just to make sure that I hear the notes really well. Once I was happy with them, I layered my chords with a few different pad sounds, and this is what we got. Then I wanted to add the mid bass, and I had a very precise idea of which one, a rolling bass. I decided to try my luck and see if anything was already done on Splice just to save time, and look at this. Perfect. I instantly took it, adapted the BPM and key, and it got me the exact result that I wanted. Oh! Yeah, I was happy. Okay, now we need more groove, so let's add a top kick in between. As you can see, I'm using Splice a lot, but this is just too amazing. I love it. It really speeds up my creative process, and there will be a link below in the description if you want to use it as well. Now, I don't mind my singing too much, but let's try and find an actual lead for our drop. I've searched a lot on Serum and found a few plucky presets which I think fit the vibe that I'm going for pretty well. Once my drop idea was there, I went on to producing the breakdown. I started by adding a nice guitar loop that I filtered and drowned in a lot of reverb to push it back in the mix. I also took the same chords from the drop and added some pianos and pads to build the verse. I used both the soft piano from Labs and the original from Spitfire. As you can see, I'm also using some automations to make sure that the sidechain is only happening in the drop and that my volume levels are correct. I then added a few FXs like cymbal crashes, transitions, downlifters, impacts, and took the 8-bar drop into a 16-bar drop. I worked a bit on the arrangement by adding more drums, percussion loops, fills, and FXs to have a real sense of progression in the drop. The build-up also needed more of an uplifting feeling, so I found a muted guitar loop to help raise the tension a little bit and added a few uplifters. At some point I realized that I had forgotten about the respace in the breakdown, but don't worry, I got that covered, and then just finished by adding a bunch of little ear candy and effects such as these. From there, I did a full-on mixing pass to try and make it sound as good as possible, and here's the final result.
Why's it gotta be like that? It took all the love in my heart. One step forward, then I'm back. Why's it gotta be like that? Why's it gotta be like that? It took all the love in my heart. One step forward, then I'm back. Why's it gotta be like? Why's it gotta be?
I know that making a song from vocals can sometimes be very tricky, so if you want a tutorial on this specific subject, you can watch this video next. That being said, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, as this is where I will be asking for suggestions next time, and who knows, maybe I'll pick your song. And little side note as well, for me to remix the song, it has to have vocals, so please no instrumental. I hope this video was useful for you and that you were able to grab a few production tips, but in the meantime, keep learning and I'll see you in the next one.